Hey, what's up? It's your girl, TC, back again with another video. Look at me being consistent here. I'm shocked. I'm surprised. But hey, guess what? It's good. It's all good. So, like I always say in all of my videos, again, I'm TC, and this is According to a Black Girl. I'm coming to share my experiences, not only in the corporate world, but traveling and just my day to day living in life. And this is just according to me and how I live. And remember that all the things that I talk about are subjective. You can either agree or disagree. It doesn't even matter whichever one you do because I'm still going to talk because, like I said, it's my perspective. Um, all that to say, today we are here to talk about the Black family history dynamic. I recently took a trip to Mississippi and I sat down with my mother, my grandmother, and my auntie, which is my mother and my mother's oldest sister and my grandmother's oldest child. And to sit down and listen to these ladies just give historical data is so imperative to me because I love hearing about any historical events that happened in my family because obviously I wasn't there. I wasn't even thought about, but just to listen to them speak on some of the things and some of the traumas that they went through as kids. I don't know if everybody knows, but most of the history that was passed down from generation to generations in the Black community were audible. They were told by, the elders to the grandkids via stories or bedtime stories or just folklore or things like that. And I think it kind of stopped when it came to America. A lot of my family is, my grandmother used the term over the weekend, tutti fruit. And I thought that, I was like, what, what is that? It made no sense to me, but I mean, they called people that were mixed and had different ethnicities and different, give me another word, Anari, races. So that is what my family is consisting of. My grandmother's mother was German and Native American, and my grandmother is Black, German, and Native American. And my granddad, his family, they're Black. They're the Knowles Hughes, and they are all Black, and they know their ancestry, and we come from Africa from my granddad's side. And just listening to the history was just, to me, so great because I love listening to anything that's from back in the day because I'm a real big history buff person. I mean, like specifically with my family, not necessarily that made up stuff that's in the history books. That's just my take on it. But just to dive into it, like I said, I sat down with my mom and my auntie. I sat down with them first just to kind of sort out some of the things, some of the details that they had been telling me, some stories about their past when they were younger, when they were growing up. A lot of their stories are very traumatic, is what I would say, because the Black family dynamic isn't perfect. It never has been because again, we've come a long way, but obviously we've dealt with a lot of trauma in the past, a lot of dismantling of families and trying to just dissect what was going on back in the day. It's so intriguing to me to listen to these stories now because I look and I think about how older generations, the boomers, how they talk and speak to us now. And they say things like, oh, we wouldn't have never done that. We wouldn't have, been that way. And we didn't do things like that. But they did. It was a different way that they did it, but they absolutely 100% did some of the things that we do. It just wasn't the same it was different times, obviously. Okay, so I like to listen to these stories because to me, these stories kind of shape who I am as a person, because without those people, there would be no me. And it is so good to just sit down and listen to stories of the past. And some of them can be a little bit triggering for the person that experienced it. I think as my auntie went through some of those stories, it may have triggered certain things from her past where she felt, you know, just little, belittled, not just by, because she was a little girl, obviously, but by family and stuff like that. But like I said, there were things that play a part in how our family is shaped now from the past. But obviously, that just defines who you are today. It doesn't encompass like your goals, your personality, and your values, because people can change values and thought processes and things of that nature. But it's just up to you to make sure that you're shaping your story day to day by just being a good person. And when I listen to the stories from back in the day, to me, a lot of that was taught. A lot of those things that were very, I would say, ignorant, they were just taught. And it's nothing against my family or the people that, went through any of that, but it's more so just a lesson, because you want to ensure that you're not carrying that trauma on to the next generation. That's one thing that I wanted to ensure that I was doing for my daughter. I wanted to make sure that she just had a healthy relationship with me and her father. And she had a dynamic where she could speak freely and speak openly and speak truthfully to both me and her father, without her having a fear of voicing her opinion. And obviously, we want her to be respectful while doing so. But I know, like, past tense, you really couldn't voice your opinion as a kid because it wasn't warranted. And you just did things because adults did it. But it was a lot of stuff that was hidden. It was a lot of things that were, said and told. It was a lot of hurt and pain. But we don't use that as a crutch. We just grow from that. We see that happen, and we take all of that information and we move forward. And we make sure that we're not doing that and passing that on to other generations. But yeah, it was just really great to sit down and listen to my aunt and my mom just have a dialogue. And I asked a lot of questions because there were some things that obviously didn't make sense to me. But as they started talking, they started piecing together some of the things, not only about my grandmother's history, but about her mother history and her mother's parents' history. So those things were so intriguing to me because these are things that I didn't know, but all of it just made so much sense. Like, the more I started hearing these stories and the more you listen to people, and that's one thing about me. When you sit back and listen to people, you find out so much. I know a lot of people like to interrupt and interject into conversations and things like that. That's great. That's wonderful. That if that's your style, keep doing it, or not. But I like to sit back and listen, because you let people talk and you start hearing the truth. People start speaking on who they truly are. And I think that's what happened when we sat down and had a dialogue. Even though I did, like I said, ask questions because I needed clarity on a lot of things. I don't remember my grandmother's mother. My mom does, obviously. And my mom tells me all the time, like, oh, well, you should, because we were down there a lot. But I just don't. And I think that's because there wasn't anything pivotal that may have or may have not happened between me and my grandmother. But again, I just don't remember having any type of conversations with her. I don't remember how she sounds or anything like that. Nor do I remember my grandfather's. This is my maternal side. I don't remember my grandfather's mother either. I don't know anyone on my father's side. He showed me pictures, and he and I have had this dialogue as well. It's so important to me to sit down and understand the history so I can talk through these things with my daughter and give her like a good understanding of who our family is. So these are just, like I said, they're so important. It's so important. I always tell, I used to love sitting down with my grandfather and listening to him. He used to tell me PC stories. And I say PC because he didn't tell me the same stories that he tells my mom and, you know, my aunts and stuff like that, because obviously he had like a traumatic experience. But he used to tell me the PC stories, like about groceries and how much they would cost and the things that he would do and how he would work and things like that. But you know, I heard tad bits of information from my mom over the weekend, and she just talked about how he wanted to go to school and he had to work in the fields. He couldn't go to school. So that's one of the things that I was listening to over the weekend, just hearing how he had so much anger towards, you know, the family because they made him go to the field and he wanted to go to school. He wanted to, you know, learn and be in school. But, you know, I'm a believer of all things happens for a reason. But, you know, we can't change the past. But like I said, it does help to shape who we are in the future. So it was just so refreshing to listen to those stories. And I always, my face always lights up. It's just, I feel like I'm in an interview when I'm doing those stories. So, yeah, that's what shaped me. Like I said, I want to hear from you all. Tell me in the comments, if you have any family members that still pass down those stories to you or to your children or to your siblings. It'll be good to hear. But yeah, that's it for today. That's all I have. I just wanted to share because I felt like it was just so it was just so good. It was so good to hear from my mom and my auntie just talking through what history was in our family and what it looked like. So yeah, that's it. And it's actually nighttime. I normally don't record at nighttime. I normally record in the daytime when it's, you know, nice and light outside. But I just had to get this done because I'm like fresh back into town and I was like, I gotta record. But like I said, I could sit down for hours and talk on this. I can like chop it up and talk through different stuff. Just all of that good stuff. It was just so good. But anyway, I hope you're having a beautiful day. I hope you're having a beautiful week. It's beautiful wherever you are, and happy 2021. And thank you for watching. Peace.